Foreign investors are leaving India. They've been pulling money out of Indian financial markets at an unprecedented rate. Indian equities have, in fact, underperformed some of their Asian peers, including South Korea and Taiwan. At first glance, this looks like bad news, but I will argue that there is a silver lining to it. In fact, this is all not a very bad news for India. It looks like investors are losing confidence in India, but that's not the whole story. Investors are not just leaving India because it has no future. They're leaving because global money right now is chasing AI boom. Investors are looking for countries and companies that can benefit directly from this AI boom. That means chips, servers, data centers, cloud infrastructure, and computing power. The US, Taiwan, and South Korean firms are better placed for this specific trade. India is therefore not at the center of this AI boom. India has major strengths. It has the software talent, digital infrastructure, and a large domestic market for AI. But the current AI boom is actually rewarding hardware and infrastructure. It is rewarding companies that can make chips and can provide computing power. India is not a major player in that part of the value chain. This is one of the reasons why investors are looking elsewhere. But the second reason is that India itself is an IT services and an outsourcing superpower. For decades, Indian firms have actually provided support, coding, testing, maintenance, and customer service to global companies. But current AI models are actually becoming good at these routine digital tasks. They can write basic code, summarize documents, generate reports, and support testing. So AI not only bypasses India's strengths, it actually disrupts one of them. This is why AI is likely to affect entry-level IT work first. These are the tasks that are routine, repeatable, and digital. They may use companies to make existing workers more efficient or redundant. So India faces a double problem in the current AI boom. India is not the biggest winner from AI infrastructure, and AI may reduce demand for some of India's traditional outsourcing work. But this apparent weakness may also contain a silver lining. AI's infrastructure is not weightless. It needs land, power, cooling systems, and most importantly, lots of water. Large data centers consume huge amount of electricity, and they also require a significant amount of water for cooling them. India already faces energy stress, water scarcity, and extreme heat. India is a hot country that is getting hotter. Many regions already face water stress. Electricity demand is rising. Building large AI server farms would add more pressure to these systems. It could mean more demand for power, more demand for cooling, and more strain on local resources. In fact, in the US, the consumers have seen their electricity bills rising by 12 to 14% on average because of AI data centers. That is why not joining every part of the AI boom may be good for India. Of course, this raises an objection that is my argument to anti-progress. Some will say India cannot afford to miss this AI race. They will argue that AI infrastructure is necessary for growth. They will say data centers and computing power are part of the future. India cannot and should not ignore AI. But my argument is that the current AI boom is not producing enough value to justify its costs. Right now, AI gains are mainly efficiency gains. And I have discussed this in another video. What is the difference between efficiency and productivity related to AI? Companies right now are using AI to cut costs and lay off people to automate routine tasks and make workers faster or redundant. But this is not the same as being productive. This is not the same as creating new products or expanding markets or producing broad economic transformation. The promise of AI is that it will eventually create massive productivity gains, but that is somewhere in the future. What is clear is that the infrastructure costs are already here. There is a familiar pattern in modern capitalism. Companies privatize the profits and society absorbs the costs. The opioid crisis is one example of this pattern in the US. Purdue Pharma profited from OxyContin, while cities and communities were left to deal with the addiction and healthcare costs and the social damage it caused. So, Purdue Pharma ultimately ended up making huge amounts of profits, but the society was left to deal with the addiction problem. And AI infrastructure could create a similar problem. AI companies may capture the profits from the boom, but ordinary people may bear many of the costs. They may live with the environment effects of the large data centers. Taxpayers may eventually pay to manage all these problems. That is why India should be careful before treating the AI infrastructure boom as an obvious opportunity. Investors who want exposure to AI can diversify. They can buy foreign stocks. They can invest in the US or South Korean companies. But ordinary people cannot easily diversify where they live. They cannot diversify away from local wattage shortages, higher electricity prices, or environmental stress. So, what looks like a missed stock market opportunity may actually be a warning about what kind of AI future India should choose. Foreign investors are leaving India because the current AI boom rewards other markets more directly. That looks bad for Indian equities. But India missing the most resource intensive part of the AI boom may actually be good. AI infrastructure brings real costs on electricity, water, heat, and environment. India should pursue AI carefully, but it should not be blindly chasing the server farm model. Thank you so much for your attention and joining me on Devil Wears Data.